Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs and author of 3 books on branding for CEOs and 1 book on lying. You can get all my books at marcsbooks.com. Well, today's topic is really about branding. Harvard is willfully ruining its brand. Why? Why would it do that? Interesting question, isn't it? Yesterday, Alan Garber, the president of Harvard, told President Trump to pound sand. Harvard is not going to stop its Jew hatred. And he said, and you can read it here, no government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. These are all euphemisms for we hate Jews and we're not ashamed of it. So Trump is withdrawing, I guess, all of the $9 billion in contracts and grants that the government has promised Harvard. But Harvard doesn't care. With an endowment of $53 billion, a decreasing enrollment, donors are running away. Harvard seems to be in competition with Columbia for which university can hate Jews the most. Now, Harvard is the most prestigious university in the world, and it is willfully destroying that. These guys have their heads in the sand. They don't know what's happening around them. They are in denial. Lots of empires in the past have failed. Let's look at a few here. Well, the Poison Ivy League, and by the way, you can go to thepoisonivyleague.com to read everything that I have posted about all of the Ivy League schools and those that are Ivy League adjacent, such as Northwestern and UCLA. But anyway, back to notable empire failures. The Poison Ivy League failure is in progress. There's no question about it. They don't seem to care. The Western Roman Empire took 240 years to fail. It's not like the Titanic, which took 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink after hitting the iceberg. That was rather rapid. Most empires take quite a long time to fail. The Eastern Roman Empire, over a millennium. The British Empire, only 78 years, which is very short in comparison. And let's look at Bud Light. We are all familiar with the Bud Light empire. Bud Light was the number 1 selling beer in America for 20 years. And it took only 3 months to go from number 1 to number 14. On April 1st of 2023, Bud Light put that idiot Dylan Mulvaney in one of its commercials. This is a dude pretending he's a girl. And there was an immediate backlash. And like Harvard, Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch doubled down, didn't apologize, didn't change it, didn't switch gears immediately to say, boy, did we screw up. No, they let it fester. And now Bud Light is an asterisk in history. But this is what happens when the elitists running the store can't read the scoreboard. They have no idea what's going on around them. And this is especially true at Harvard. As I said, a brand is not a name, but the people running Harvard think it's a name. They remember the Harvard of years past. I lived in the Boston area for 20 years. I left in 1998. And all the time I was there, people revered Harvard, revered it. It was a hallowed place. Now it's a shell of its former self. And it's inexcusable. But this is what happens when people are in denial, when their egos are attached to an institution. They're living in the past. They don't see the facts on the ground today. They don't care. And they're just going to run it into the ground. And nobody seems to stop them. So the Ivy League schools are poison. That's why I created thepoisonivyleague.com. Let this be a lesson in branding. that it takes a long time to establish a strong brand because it's essentially trust with people. It takes very little time to destroy it, unless you're like the British Empire or the Roman Empire and you have virtually no competition. Then the degradation is slower. But if you have a lot of competition like Bud Light, you can evaporate in months. Harvard, as I said, was the most prestigious school in the world for a very long time. It was established in the 17th century. So now it is in shambles. It's a disgrace. And it's amazing how much they're clinging to the hatred of Jews. And as a Jew, I'm glad to see it go into a heap of ashes. So if you're still sending your kid to Harvard, you're also living in the past. It's proof that you don't care about education. You only care about credentializing your children. But what would those credentials represent if the school's brand crumbles? Those credentials crumble with it. So you need to think about that. Again, Harvard is willfully doing this. It's not an accident. But the sad fact is they don't see it. They have their heads in the sand. And we're watching it play out in real time. Don't ever let this happen to your company. Always pay attention to the facts on the ground. Don't go woke or you will go broke. This is Marc Rudov. Until next time.